capital was over the past week a hive of activity as parents and guardians engaged in last-minute rush to acquire items for their children's back-to-school. A majority of parents have been left bankrupt by the skyrocketing school costs. We get more in the following report.
In Zimbabwe is becoming an overwhelming burden, draining parents with exorbitant demands. The rising costs associated with the schooling are leaving parents financially strained, making education increasingly inaccessible. A recent survey revealed that education is slipping beyond the reach of many low-income families. Beyond school fees and levies, parents are struggling with the high cost of essential items. These include stationery, uniforms, food, toiletries, transport, among others.
I can say we are financially drained because the prices from NB, the other things were very expensive.
The stationery iri kuwanika zvayo apo napo, but obviously kuitenga kwatotenga kwakachipa tita kuti tenga ku black market ndokwati ino yakati ichipe. Takapinda edu mashops sometimes ma price mwateta kurowa na shops ananga kati kwire. Saka ndakaenda kunzo kundona zimunguwa zine zvakati chipe.
An ECD learner requires at least $500 for school fees, uniforms, and other necessities on the first day of school. For parents with Form 1 students enrolling in boarding schools, the cost is no less than $1,200 for uniforms and school fees. Many schools, despite government calls against the move, have compounded the issue by being the sole suppliers of uniforms and school books. The prices are exorbitant, often triple those of retailers, which are already considered expensive in the local market. While authorities claim parents have the freedom to purchase uniforms elsewhere, this is not a reality on the ground.
School fees kuma government school so far vabereki vazhinji vari kuchema kuti izvezvi hakuna mwana achapinda muklasi asina mari yeschool fees yakakwana, uyezve maschool fees acho ari kunzi akakwira. Mauniform ari kuti vanoda mauniform anotengerwa pachikoro, yeti mauniform acho anenge achidhura zvakare, saka zvinhu zviri kutoomera vabereki.
Much like an avenging spirit, school costs have left parents financially drained and in debt. The back-to-school period is something they wish to quickly forget.
It's always a difficult time when you have to pay fees, and these economical conditions and macroeconomic conditions and the micro ones also they affect us in a very big way as parents, and it's a tough one. I can actually relate to those parents there who are complaining also, especially where you have to buy things from the school, and
that's the only
cheaper price compared to the retail side of things. Yeah, so I had an experience one time. Which was, the school was Gateway actually. We bought uniforms, gray uniform for boys, and we gave him the uniform. He wore the uniform, and he was so uncomfortable. He came back. He's like, "Yeah, well, they told me it's not the school uniform. It's not the correct uniform." But we had, checked with the school, the shade of the color, and everything was. And it was matching, at least as far as I could see. I know I'm a bit colorblind, but I really rely on my wife. I rely on my wife where that is concerned. Where to buy the uniform from the school? And it was exactly 3 times what the price was initially. Of course, the school does that to fundraise, so you can't really blame them, but I think there needs to be a balance. If it's going to be a little bit more than the uniform suppliers or whatever, it has to make some sort of sense. But what is interesting, Teach, also is just the expenses associated with this. And of course, we talk about other schools. We're going to look into them, and we're going to name and shame. That's what we're going to do this morning. And of course, we look at Marondera High being the first one there that I want to talk about. It needs about $600 for fees and levies for Form 1s there. You can get your uniforms, obviously, at the uniform suppliers, Yolana, NB. I don't know, is Topper still there?
I haven't seen it.
Topper's uniforms. Are you still there? Then in Bulawayo there was ESET's uniforms. We used to get from there. And of course, Goromonzi, you look at least about $700 in fees, and almost another $700 is required for uniforms.
$700 in uniforms. Wow. It's okay.
That's about 2 pairs of suits, Teach. Okay, relax.
So for your school uniform.
Sorry, an expensive child who's going for Form 1. So you got a child who's going to Goromonzi. I think my good friend Nigel Kaseke has got a son who's going to Goromonzi as well. So yeah, I think he's shelling out the $700. That's why he hasn't been kind and he hasn't gotten in touch with me. So for beginners at Serima High, at least $1,000 is needed for fees and all the uniforms and other costs that are associated with the school. There, last term, parents paid around $460 in fees, and this term there has been a slight adjustment to about $500 there that is needed. And then Bradford, this one is the most interesting one, teacher, where Bradford Primary School needs at least $700 in fees for infants.
And there's a simple supply for the uniforms. Like, I feel like the whole school system generally is a cartel. Like I was telling you. No, it's a cartel.
Are you saying these headmasters are gangsters?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go gangsters, but
what is a cartel? What is a cartel?
It's a cartel.
It's a group comprised of
unruly
gangsters.
individuals who are pressuring. You know what? There was a funny thing that happened. So I'm sitting with my son. We're going through the orientation and all those things, and then one of the teachers or the teachers in charge, whatever, they're explaining the whole thing, the experience. They're saying these are the right colors, blah blah blah. You can get it, and then she goes on a rant about pencils, and she's like, "We don't want these." She's like, "The Chinese have infiltrated this country, and we don't want Chinese pencils." I was like, are we, is this still a school or this is now some...
What's your son's name?
Caden.
So Caden is going to be in trouble. Your dad is putting you in trouble.
No, I'm not mentioning the school. I didn't mention the school.
No, but we know it. we know. We're going to look for Caden and be like, your father. He talks about us on TV.
No, I did buy the right pencils. So, I mean...
You didn't buy the...
No, I didn't buy...
They're not from the East. You didn't look east.
I didn't look east.
You didn't
I
use
went
the
downtown.
look east
I went downtown.
It's a look east policy. So yeah, to all the schools that making it a bit difficult for parents. I know there's always reasoning behind it. Like I'm one of my things this year. I want to be part of the PTA.
Yeah, I think
right?
that's a
I want to be part
thing.
of the SDA or SDC, they call it. I want to be a part of that for all the schools. And, I've got two sons who are at two different schools. Yeah. One is in grade 6, and I'm definitely going to try and find a spot there.
Are there elections or you
I don't
to
know.
go on a campaign?
I don't know. I don't
the
care.
campaign manager?
I don't know. I don't care, but I'm going to be the chairman of the SDC. At least the treasurer. Yeah. And then, of course, I've got my two little girls. They are at, infant schools, two different schools as well again. But, these ones, they're very gentle, very kind, very nice. But the other one is wearing uniform. The other one doesn't wear uniform. And the one with the uniform, actually, the list looked like it was harmless, until you realize, you've actually spent almost $250-300 buying little nothings for these little kids.
Oh, they're nothings to you, but your pocket
to
is
me,
saying
they're nothings. I'm looking at my wife like, is that necessary? She's like, yeah, but it's on the list.
Share your back to school experience with us on our social media handles at Zimpapers TV Network on Facebook, at ZTM Prime across X, Instagram, Threads, and let's laugh about it, because we can't avoid it.
Konapo, ipapo, ba ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.